All right, YouTube, what is going on? It is Zaya here from Zaya&TheSteelers back with another post-game reaction, and today we are going to be reacting to the Steelers win on Monday Night Football against the New York Giants. So if you guys are Steelers fans or you enjoy NFL content in general, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications. We are on the road to 2,000 subscribers. Shout out to the people who have subscribed already. And shout out to the future subscribers, man. Also, let's get a shout out to the members. If you guys would like to support me and this channel more, be sure to hit that join button down in the description below. And shout out to the live audience as I went live again for another primetime game and had a pretty fun stream watching this Pittsburgh Steelers team. So once again, shout out to the live audience. And man, oh man, what a stressfully not stressful game at all. So if you watched the live, if you guys were talking to me today, I was not stressed out about this game at all. Of course, that first half was a bit weird. We ended at 9-9. But we got to start it off with the first touchdown of the game, down the first drive of the game, as a matter of fact, to George Pickens. Obviously, it gets negated by a Broderick Jones face mask penalty. Broderick Jones also kind of let up a sack there, I want to say in the first or second quarter as well. But then past that, I think he played pretty well. Now, obviously, that is a huge mistake. Obviously, Broderick Jones has kind of dealt with that throughout the season, and it's been kind of up and down play out of him. But we don't want to spend time really, killing him for it. This situation with him and Dan Moore and Troy Fatanu, and like Dan Moore won't play the right side, but Broderick Jones is a left tackle, so it's very weird. And now is not the time for that. But Broderick Jones, obviously, that penalty didn't help. And then there was another touchdown to George Pickens that got negated because George didn't get his other foot down. Now in the moment, it did not look like that at all. At all. It seemed like George Pickens got the touchdown. I was like, oh yeah, touchdown. I didn't even know that it was possible for it to get taken away until they were like, hey, wait a second, we're reviewing this. And then you see on the replay, George Pickens, he just doesn't get his left foot, or it was either the left or right foot. He just doesn't get it down. And then on top of that too, because obviously touchdown plays are reviewed. The referees, they, overturned it. They reviewed it. And then Mike Tomlin, he throws a challenge flag. And then the refs, and we will talk about the refs in a second. And then the refs, reviewed it. And then we're like, wait, you can't do that. You can't challenge a reviewed play. And so they took away one of our timeouts, right? And so that happened in the first half. And then, I don't know, drive just got kind of stalled out, right? And so, we didn't finish that first half, up as much as we should have been. In fact, we were tied. But at no point in this game was it spooky at all. Even the early points out of the Giants, the early drives out of the Giants, for what it's worth, our run defense is pretty bad. We're always letting that running back to kind of dominate us. And I don't know, this defense, it's not a Steelers defense. It's not a Steelers year if the defense just doesn't make you want to go to sleep and turn off the game. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they just don't show up. It is what it is. For plays, it'll happen. For drives, it'll happen. But when we lock in, it is a beautiful sight to see. And as you can see, TJ Watt, he finished the game with 2 sacks. Alex Highsmith finished the game with 2 sacks. Beanie Bishop ended the game with a game-winning interception. We have our moments. We have our splash plays when we need them. But a lot of the times, this defense just kind of falls asleep. It is what it is. But even saying that, the Giants were so bad. The Giants are so bad that, once again, I had little to no fear at any point in this game for how close it was. How close it was, I believe the game finished 26-18. Even that's closer than how it felt. To me, if I'm bugging, let me know. But if you've been watching the Steelers team for a while, we're probably going to win this game, right? It is what it is. The Giants, they just could not sustain it. And on top of that, too, they were just full of penalties today. The Giants, I don't know what is going on. Of course, Daniel Jones is still starting, which is a bit of a head scratcher. I said it in the live, if Daniel Jones was a Pittsburgh Steeler, we would have been on our 7th different quarterback by now, because we were not putting up with that. It is absolutely ridiculous that there are real organizations out there, in the NFL, that operate like this, that continuously are bad like this. And I'm a Steelers fan. I've never seen this team be this bad. Yeah, the Giants, they just had penalty after penalty after penalty. Malik Neighbors, he played a pretty good game, I guess. Joey Porter Jr. kind of shut him down. Darius Slayton was somebody who was really getting us, and that, it happens. The wide receiver too, just like the running back too. We just get cooked sometimes, man. And our running defense wasn't the best today, but they showed up when they needed. And then we got to talk about the offensive side of the ball, man, because it is time to start spreading some narratives. It is time to start spreading some agendas. Russell Wilson is hooping, man. And I don't have the gunshots up, but Russell Wilson is hooping. There was a few throws that maybe could be called underthrown. There was a few throws that maybe he could have thrown better, but for the most part, the way that he plays with this offense is just it's amazing. It's absurd to think that we at one point, and I want not too much on Justin Fields, but at one point we weren't really spreading the ball as much as we were down the field. And then Russell Wilson comes in and it's bombs away. You know what I'm saying? We need a deep shot. We want to take a deep shot. We want to be an aggressive team. We go out and we be an aggressive team. Shout out to Arthur Smith for that. And it's not even just on Justin Fields. The offense has been, just really boring for the last 3 to 4 seasons, depending on, we had Kenny Pickett out there. We had Mason Rudolph out there. We had Mitch out there. We had old Big Ben out there. It's just been kind of stale, right? And so Russell Wilson, these last 2 weeks, he's been able to really turn turn it up. We finished the game with 26 points. We talked about the touchdown. One was a penalty that like could have been called back. And then the George Pickens thing, like, that I've never seen that happen, honestly. I've never seen a closer not touchdown than that. And in terms of like the situation, now of course there have been like some toes out of bounds before, but like for George Pickens not to get that foot down, it was very weird. You know what I'm saying? If you watch, you know what I'm talking about. And so like we definitely could have had more points. And the defense, like I said, they kind of fell asleep for a second. It is what it is. These Mike Tomlin trap games, sometimes we don't play the best against other competitions, like lower competition. But, Najee Harris, I forgot to mention him. That first half out of Najee Harris was beautiful, man. It was a beautiful sight to see. Even Jaylen Warren was getting in on the running game some. But yeah, Najee Harris has been running the ball with ferocity these last couple of weeks, and that's really good to see too. He had a hurdle, man, and like that shit was crazy. And as I mentioned the hurdle, as I mentioned how good Najee Harris played, I cannot believe that I've gone this long in the video without mentioning big Calvin Austin, man. Calvin Austin with 2 touchdowns today. How many videos, guys, have I made about a wide receiver too? I know you're sick of it. I know you're sick of me talking about fake trades. I know you're sick of me talking about free agents. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just got to do what I got to do sometimes, right? But Calvin Austin really, really, really has been playing well, especially now with Russell Wilson in the lineup. He had a punt return touchdown today, and he had a normal touchdown today. A normal touchdown, I mean like a 40-yard bomb out of Russell Wilson. The guy, Calvin Austin, he's just fast and he gets open. Like he's fast and gets open. What more could you ask for? There's been numerous times this season where Calvin Austin has been open. There's been numerous times last season where Calvin Austin was open, and we just didn't get him the ball. And so because of that, it kind of swayed our opinions of it. It swayed my opinion of him. I'm like, hey, we have this guy Calvin Austin who like we talk up so much, but like we're not really using that well. Like maybe we do need to get another wide receiver, right? Like I'll take accountability for that. I'll take credit for that. But today he balled out, man. And Russell Wilson it cannot be understated how good Russell Wilson has been looking, man. Like I'm not saying like he's an MVP. I'm not saying he's like he's back or whatever, but hey, he is hitting the throws that need to be hit. And on top of that too, the guy is slinging it, man. He is slinging the ball, and I am happy Russell Wilson is my quarterback. And I'm also happy Justin Fields was able to hold it down for as much as he did to give us a pretty good record. And now we're heading into the bye at 6-2, and we are coming out of the bye against a pretty hot Washington Commanders team, and I would really like to win that game. This is going to be a good test for us. It's going to be our one of our like first and only good teams this year. Honestly, we think about the games like the Cowboys. That loss looks so much worse because they suck. The Jets suck. Who I don't think we've really played like a crazy team like that, I'll be honest. And so Washington is going to be a good test for us. I would have liked for the offense to kind of, finish on the drive some, but of course, those first 2 touchdowns, they didn't count. If they did, then we would have put up like 35 points today. You know what I mean? And so the offense is there. The no context, if you just box score read and whatnot, you're going to be like, oh, the Steelers offense, it still sucks. Like you guys are going to get spanked and blah, 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 blah. That's what they said about us all offseason, ladies and gentlemen. They said all offseason, all preseason, we weren't going to be in this position. And look at us. We are in this position with no wide receiver trade. We are in this position with a lot of offensive line members missing. We are in this position with Russell Wilson starting, who people said was washed up. People said 2 weeks ago that he was washed up when we were mad about Justin Fields getting replaced. I was mad about it at the time. Now that I've seen how the offense is played, hey, man, it was the right move to make. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am willing to admit that, and you guys should be willing to admit that too. But I also was giving Russell Wilson a chance before the season started. I got kind of hype about Justin Fields and like started seeing the future. But before the season started, I was ready for Russell Wilson to be the quarterback, and this is exactly what I was expecting. The guy is a hooper, man. He's just, I live vicariously through Russell Wilson. It's like he's a my player, and like I'm control, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like I'm playing still because it's Russell Wilson out there. He's an inspiration to many, And so just shout out to him. Van Jefferson made a pretty big play today. Shout out to him making like an adjustment on the ball. Overall, I think we looked pretty good. Like I said, the 9-9 first half is very misleading. The defense fell asleep. It happens. But the Giants, there was no way that they could sustain it. Like, it was just a matter of when the offense scored. Once the offense went up, we never looked back. Once we got that touchdown, I'm pretty sure we kept that lead for the rest of the game, and we never looked back, and that's all it took. Once Calvin Austin returned that punt, the game was pretty much over because there was no way in absolute hell that the Giants were going to be able to sustain that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were moving the ball. Tyrone Tracy had a pretty good game. Devin Singletary, pretty good game. It is what it is. Like I said, we fall asleep, but there was no way that they were going to be able to do that for the whole game. TJ Watt gets going, he gets 2 sacks. Alex Highsmith gets going, he gets 2 sacks, and all of a sudden we win the game 26-18. And so I am very happy. This was definitely a W game out there. And like I said, we're going into the bye at 6-2. We're going into the bye number 1 in the AFC North, exactly where I said we were going to be, exactly where Steelers fans expected to be. But just remember, nobody expected this out of us, right? And what happened last week? Baltimore just lost to Cleveland. Cleveland is missing Deshaun Watson, and now is a better team with Jameis Winston out there. That is what it is. Say what you want about that, but they started off pretty slow. Cincinnati lost another game. They started off slow. It is going to be down to us and the Ravens, so we don't play for 10 centuries now because the NFL scheduling, people hate us, and like we're going to have to play for the AFC North later in the season. It is what it is. But we will see about that. But for now, we are in first place, and we are exactly where we should be. We are controlling our own narrative. We are controlling our own destiny, and game by game, we just got to keep stacking these W's. And eventually, people are going to know how good of a team we are. But for now, it is just us. For now, it is me and you alike watching the Pittsburgh Steelers dominate and do what they do. And so tonight, a very successful game. Shout out to the Steelers for respecting primetime football and the fact that everybody is watching it and the fact that everybody knows I'm a Steelers fan. And so thus, if they're watching the Steelers game, they're thinking about me. And when they stink it up and score no points, I get a text and it's like, oh, look at your team. Like, I'm not watching. Like, I'm watching. You know what I'm saying? I'm watching the game. And here I got to listen to text about, oh, the Steelers suck. Man, they're not going to be able to score any touchdowns. You know how many seasons I had to put up with that nonsense, man? It was too long. And so these last couple of weeks, these last 2 weeks with Russell Wilson out there respecting the primetime, fact of it all, respecting the context, I appreciate that. Steelers Nation appreciates that. The ticket buyers, how expensive Pittsburgh Steelers games are. We both know they are not cheap tickets. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that you go to a primetime game and sometimes you won't even see a touchdown, those days are dead. Russell Wilson has saved us. Save us, Russell Wilson. He has. You know what I mean? Like, it is beautiful. Arthur Smith, you are a god. Darnell Washington had a pretty good game today. And overall, special teams, I mentioned Calvin Austin getting a touchdown, but Danny Smith, he's just an amazing coach as well. I had to get a shout out to him. But other than that, I think that is going to do it for me for this video. I have an idea for a video too that I want to release, so definitely be sure to check out the channel for some more context, because obviously we're going into a bye, so there's not going to be another post-game reaction until the Washington game. So definitely stay on the channel because I'm going to have some content coming out. If you want to support me and the channel more, be sure to hit that join button. Anyways, this has been Zaya from Zaya and the Steelers, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out. Victory Tuesday.